free from desire and situated at the stage of Paramahamsa, we are still aspiring to taste the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Shri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so it's 2 verses, text 32 and 33. This is chapter 15, canto 7, and the chapter is entitled Instructions for Civilized Human Beings. So I'll try and go through it in one line at a time. Pranapano sanidranjat purakam bhakat rekikai yavan manashajat kaman svanasagra nirikshana yato yato nisharati manakama hatam ramat tata upahricha viniranyach chanebada prapanapano sanirudayat purakam bhakarechakai yavan manas chanje yakama svanasagra nirikshana yato yato nihish sarati manakama hatam brahma vidiranjak chane buddha. Prapano sanirundayat Pudakam bhagarechakai Yavan manasajay kaman Svanasagra nirikshana Nato yato nisarati Manakama hatam ramat tatas tata upahita vidvikranjak panchanai buddha. Tatas tata upahricha Vidiranjak chane buddha. Prana, incoming breath. Apano, outgoing breath. Sanirunjat, should stop. Purakambhaka richakai. By inhaling, exhaling, and holding what are technically known as Puraka, Kumbhaka, and Richaka. Yavat, so long. Mana, the mind. Chaje, should give up. Kaman, all material desires. Swa, one's own. Nasak agra, the tip of the nose. Nirikshana, looking at yata yata, from wherever and wherever. Nishalati, withdraws. Mana, the mind. Kamahatam, being defeated by lusty desires. Brahmat, wandering. Ta-ta, ta-ta, from here and there. Upavicca, after bringing it back. Hridi, within the core of the heart. Hridayat, should arrest the mind. Shanai, gradually by practice. Buddha, a learned yogi. Translation, while continuously staring at the tip of the nose, a learned yogi practices the breathing exercises through the technical means known as Puraka, Kumbhaka, and Rechaka, controlling inhalation and exhalation and then stopping them both. In this way, the yogi restricts his mind from material attachments and gives up all mental desires. As soon as the mind, being defeated by lusty desires, drifts towards feelings of sense gratification, the yogi should immediately bring it back and arrest it within the core of his heart. The practice of yoga is concisely explained herein. When this practice of yoga is perfect, one sees the Super Soul, the Paramatma feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within the core of one's heart. However, in the Bhagavad Gita 6.47, the Supreme Lord says, Yoga namapi sarvesham mangataranyatmana sradavan bhajate yomam same muktatamo mataha. Of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. A devotee can immediately become a perfect yogi because he practices keeping Krishna constantly within the core of his heart. This is another way to practice yoga easily. The Lord says, Man mano bhava mad bhakto, majhi mam namaskuru. Always think of me and become my devotee. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. 1865 Bhagavad Gita. If one practices devotional service by always keeping Krishna within the core of his heart, manmana, he immediately becomes a first-class yogi. Furthermore, keeping Krishna within the mind is not a difficult task for the devotee. For an ordinary man in the bodily concept of life, the practice of yoga may be helpful, but one who immediately takes to devotional service can immediately become a perfect yogi without difficulty. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Jnana Timiranda Shagananjana Shalakaya Chakshunmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhastam Stapatam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shrivas Hari Gaura Bhattarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchikapatra Kripa Sindhu Bheva Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So Srila Prabhupada makes the point that the one who always thinks of Krishna is the highest yogi. Well, this is Krishna making the point in the Bhagavad Gita 6.47. So in that chapter, Dhyana Yoga, it's explaining how to conquer the mind, make the mind a friend. And then Krishna encourages Arjuna that by thinking of me all the time, becoming my devotee, then you'll become the best yogi. So first 6 chapters and the last 6 chapters are the outer shell of the Bhagavad Gita. So this is just the precursor now. Krishna's hinting that by thinking of him, that's the highest yoga. And then from 7 through to for the next 6 chapters, then he goes into the more intimate. Chapter 9 is the most confidential knowledge. Chapter 10 is where all the 4 seed verses are. Chapter 11, he shows his universal form. And then chapter 12, he shows how he's willing to accommodate practitioners of all different levels. So somebody may think, I can't inhale and exhale at the same time, and therefore I'm not even a very good yogi. So why should Krishna accept my devotions? But Krishna says, if you can't do this, in chapter 12 he says, if you can't do this, then do this. If you can't do that, then do that. At least give your fruits away to something. If you can't give it to me, then give it to some good cause. So he's willing, he's very accommodating. And there's three different types of devotees that achieve perfection. One just by hearing, one by trying to remember what he's heard and trying to apply it, and then one who actually goes and preaches is considered the highest, to go and share the knowledge with others. And so according to the level that you're at, and Krishna knows what level you're at, then he's willing to accept you. Any questions or comments? Jayanand, have you got a question? I'll take this up before it disintegrates. Yeah, so this section is quite technical, isn't it? Start at the tip of the nose, and then there's Richaka, and then there's Puraka, Kumbhaka, Rechaka. So you can see in Satya Yuga, that's what everyone was doing. They were going off and doing their meditation, and then they were escaping from the repetition of birth and death in Satya Yuga. So they had a lot more control over their minds, and they had a lot more time. How long did they live, Jayananda? Sorry? In Satya Yuga. $100,000, because there's 100,000, because there's stories of yogis practicing for 40,000, 50, 60,000, which would be the same as like 40, 50, 60 years. So even though they had all that ability and control, it was still going to take them the equivalent of our 40, 50 years, 2/3 of their life to achieve perfection. It's so funny, isn't it? Now people, they go to yoga and they do yoga for 5 minutes and they're wondering why, or they're thinking that they're getting somewhere, They do yoga for 5 minutes and then they stop and have a chat, have a suck on a vape, and then go down to the nightclub, and then they're there again next week. What do you think of that, Jayananda? It's not a good idea, is it? Yeah. For 5 minutes. I mean, if they do it for an hour, but then what they're doing outside that hour, and then they're going around with this attitude that they're spiritual because they hug trees. It's a really cheap, pseudo, half-baked idea of what spiritual life is. I'm going to wear this T-shirt with the Om sign on and hug people and really be nice and give the traffic warden a flower, and then I'm totally spiritual. And I don't swear, and I don't pick my nose in public, and I wash my socks every day. So I must be totally up there,
We call it virtue signaling these days. It's like someone will put a Ukraine flag in their window or put a post on Facebook. They'll wear a T-shirt that says they're into something. It's like people are signaling how virtuous they are, which is just another way to puff up the ego.
Yeah.
I was very interested in what you were saying here about this. There was something about the other, easier form of yoga, because this is all a bit technical for us. Are we not meant to sort of just take to bhakti or something?
Yeah.
Could you say something about that, please?
So it's showing bhakti is the most practical process, And if you just try to, Dheeraj Shanta Maharaj was saying that if you have a devotee offering arati and he's doing Vaidhi Bhakti, then he's just counting all the circles. And then if a devotee is offering arati and he's thinking, I'm so fallen, I'm so unworthy, but by some special mercy, Lord Chaitanya's allowed me to offer this service to him, then that's starting to come to spontaneous devotional service. So, but before we can give up awe and reverence, we have to get awe and reverence, which means we do have to follow and we do have to count all the circles. We can't circumvent and do the intermediary stages. Otherwise, that becomes cheap, that becomes sahaja. And Raganuga, spontaneous devotional service, that comes after the stage of Nishta. And for most of us, it'll take 10, 15, 20 years solid service to get free of 75% of the anarthas. And that's when we achieve the stage of Nishta. Then from Nishta, the quality of service rendered is very high, and the rate of advancement is very rapid, and Ruchi comes. And once Ruchi comes, then the advancement really starts to speed up because the quality of service being rendered is very, very high. And the devotee is not making offenses. He's at least Majjhima Adhikari. A Majjhima Adhikari, he doesn't offend. He respects everybody, and he also sees the level that they're on. But he gives everybody respect. He's very respectful, but he's not so concerned with the opinions of the Kanishtas. So the art of navigating through the different stages of devotional service is explained by Rupa Goswami in the Nectar of Instruction. And it's interesting that the very, very first verse, Vacha Vegam Anasakroda Vegam, Jiva Vegam Udarapasta Vegam, Etam Vegam Yog Vishahotadera, Savamakam Prativim Shishishat. He says that you'll become qualified to make disciples all over the world. So most devotees are thinking, if I become a guru, I've achieved, that's it, I'm right at the very top. Rupa Goswami is explaining that if you engage in preaching, then that's it, then you're a guru. You may not be a Diksha guru, but you're a Shiksha guru. And this is the point. Like here, the yogi goes off and he's in the cave and he's inhaling and he's exhaling and he's seeing the super soul. But he's not giving anyone a Bhagavad Gita. He's not giving anyone a Bhagavad Mahaprashadam. He's not led a kirtan in one of the capital cities in the world, seen by hundreds of thousands of people. He's just in the cave, controlling his breathing, so he can see the super soul. So Rupa Goswami, seeing the inadequacies and the disqualifications that would befall practitioners in Kali Yuga, immediately he says, control your mind, control your anger, and make disciples all over the world. Right away, right off the bat, that's the very first, you've just come in, you've been eating hamburgers and watching crazy stuff and doing crazy stuff, and you just kind of stumble in through the door. Rupa Goswami is there. Okay, control yourself and go all over the world and preach. That's the very, very first instruction. And then you have different factions. You have Gaudiya Math, and then you have Ritviks. So these are the two contentious parties that are either side. Here we are in ISKCON. We didn't know anything 5 minutes ago. We knew absolutely nothing. We didn't even know how to go to the toilet 5 minutes ago. And here we are suddenly in one of Srila Prabhupada's temples. And we're getting a chance now to practice devotional service. And immediately there's two factions there. One of them is Ritvik, and they're saying, no, you can't become a guru. Only Prabhupada's a pure devotee. And then you have the Gaudiya Math, and they're saying, it's okay to just do three regs and chant 4 rounds. It's okay to do that. I'm also an acharya. If Prabhupada can do it, I can do it. And then one of the devotees from the Gaudiya Math was saying, well, you've got your Prabhupada and we've got our Prabhupada. Jayananda, what's wrong with that? Not really, I suppose. If someone says, that's your Prabhupada, but I've got my Prabhupada, what's fallacious in that statement?
Well, what do they mean with that?
They mean that he's like their founder Acharya, that if he says just do 4 rounds and 3 regs,
Prabhupada never said that.
and Prabhupada didn't, but this is my Prabhupada, and he's saying that.
So, but they have nothing to back up. That is very
No. Yeah, that's the thing, yeah. And also, they could say that that's their Prabhupada, but did their Prabhupada found an international society? Did he set up a morning program? Did he translate 80 books? Write 80 books? Did he do that? Then how can he be a Prabhupada the same? How can he be in the same stature? To be able to do what Prabhupada did in such a short space of time means he was directly empowered. He was the Shakti of Lord Nityananda, like a Shakti avatar, someone that's been sent down and is empowered. And then to say, oh, well, like you could say, this is my Buddha, I worship Buddha, and say, well, that's your Buddha, but this is my Buddha. But there is only one Buddha, and he was sent on a particular mission to set up a particular, in the same way as Srila Prabhupada, you know. And then to say, oh, well, only Srila Prabhupada, and they may think that they're pleasing Srila Prabhupada by saying, no, only Srila Prabhupada is the pure devotee, nobody else. And Prabhupada says, you'll show your love by how you cooperate. In that book, When Good Fortune Arises, by Guru Govinda Maharaj, he tells his disciples, there's a list of instructions he gives just before he leaves. And he says, we need to stay in ISKCON, we need to work together in ISKCON, tolerate, and cooperate. He says, everything that we need is in Srila Prabhupada's books. So he really emphasized we don't need to leave the ISKCON society, and everything that we need is in Srila Prabhupada's books. Some of the things in Srila Prabhupada's books may be in seed form, and there's an expression, it's a Bengali expression, when you fluff something out, like right now, Kandaki has got the cotton wool, and he's rolling it into balls. But if someone who was to get the little balls that Kandaki's got, they could open them up and fluff them out. So what Srila Prabhupada's disciples, some of them anyway, are doing is they're taking these seed indications and instructions that are there in Srila Prabhupada's books, and they're fluffing them out and they're showing them what that actually means, you know, which initially you may not. Have you any examples, Jainand Prabhu, how that could be, where you've read something that Srila Prabhupada said and you've taken it one way, and then later on you've fluffed it out and you've realized it means so much more than just that? Yeah. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada says, you know, chant Hare Krishna. So we say, okay, I'll go and chant Hare Krishna. And then later on we realize, well, there's a bit more to this chant Hare Krishna than just rattling off a series of words. There's a whole bhava involved and a whole chastity. That if you're very chaste when you're chanting, then you don't allow the mind to wander. Like it's saying here, you keep withdrawing it, nehasarati. You withdraw the mind. And it's interesting, you know, Smaranam, how it works. There's Shravanam and Kirtanam, and then we know the next one is Vishnu Smaranam. The Smaranam, the way it works is when you're chanting, are you remembering to withdraw the mind back? Or does it just keep going? And then suddenly you've been thinking about your old girlfriend for 30 minutes, and you think, oh, hold on a second, because you forgot. So what's happening is there's 2 potencies that Maya exerts. One is she covers, and then the other is she casts down. It's 2 different Shaktis she's got. So you're there with your bead bag on. Maya comes along and thinks, oh, he's chanting Hare Krishna. I say, okay, I'll soon put a stop to that. And she throws a cover over you, and you forget you're chanting Hare Krishna, and you start thinking about your old girlfriend, or how you're going to fix the wheel on your car, or I'm going to sort this ingrown toenail out, I'll have to contact this doctor. And then suddenly, hold on a second, because you were just covered over. So that's a good example, Jainanda. So you think, oh, that's easy enough. You put the bead bag on, shake it around for a couple of hours, and Haribol, where's the doll? And then you do that for a while and you're thinking, actually, I'm not sure if I'm doing this properly because I should be experiencing this and these problems should be clearing up and they don't seem to be. So maybe I need to go back to the drawing board and try that again, you know. So along with Shravanam and Kirtanam, there must be Vishnu Smarana. We must be remembering. If we're not withdrawing the mind back, then it means we're not remembering. Remembering is wandering off the path and then dragging yourself back on. And the quicker you can do it, like if you just take one step off the path, and you're straight back on, then that's excusable. That's norma bas. But if you take one step off the path and it's like, oh, this is a lot more interesting, and then you're off for half an hour, that's nama parad. Nama bas, sorry. You're trying, you made a little mistake there, you're remorseful, immediately you're back on, everything's okay. But if you go off the path and it's you think, oh, what's the problem, you know, then it's nama parad. And you don't make any advancement when you chant nama parad, you don't get anywhere. All that happens with nama parad is material desires are fulfilled. So all the things that you really want, suddenly they all just start happening for you. You just get everything. It's like, wow, you know. So that's all that nama parad does. So you could chant nama parad for 30 years and you could be in a really nice house, with a really nice car, with a really nice garden in front of your house, and everything's fine, but you're not making any advancement spiritually. You're just getting your material desires fulfilled. It's like giving you a little toy to play with, to distract you so that you don't go forward. You just stay in the material world. You come back in your next life to play with all your bucket list of toys that you didn't get a chance to play with in this lifetime.
I was listening there, it was very interesting, but I just missed something you said. You said Maya has two different Shaktis. One is like a cover, and what is the other one?
Casting down. Yeah, so once you get covered, then all kinds of weird and wonderful things, sinful things come in, desires come in. Once you're covered over, then first of all, she covers you and then she knocks you down. And then the problem is once there's some fall down, then we can become discouraged. And the discouragement is more dangerous than the fall down. If you slip and you make some mistake, but you have strong faith in the process, then you just get straight back up and you continue on. But if you become discouraged and decide, oh, this is useless, I'm a waste of time, I'm going to stop doing this, that's the danger. That's the real danger, actually. Of all the sinful things, even if you're committing sin on the strength of chanting, that's still better than not chanting. Once you don't chant, that is the most sinful thing, the most detrimental thing that you can do. If you just keep going, no matter what it is that happens or what it is you do, then eventually you will win. But if you discontinue the process, then you're finished.
Another two questions. I'm sorry to come with questions. So with, chanting, is it important that we pronounce properly the mantra when we're chanting, or can we really say any old thing as long as the intention's there, because Krishna is aware of our intentions?
I'll start with that one first then. So for yourself it is, but for everybody else it isn't. So watch out for that one. So for ourselves, we want to really do it nicely and precisely. And for somebody else, they may be saying Hare Krishna because they're from China. That's between them and Krishna. Because Krishna knows how hard they're trying, and what they're thinking they're saying and what they're actually saying may be two different things. So the intention is much more important than... do you know the story of Ling? Yeah, so Ling was given a seed by the king, by the emperor, and the emperor said, whoever grows the seed the best will be the next emperor. So he gave everybody in the kingdom a seed, while all the young boys, and they came back a year later and they all had amazing plants, and Ling didn't have anything. He just had a smelly pot with a rotten seed in it. And so they were showing the emperor, and then the Ling was at the back because he thought, when the emperor sees what I've got, he'll probably chop my head off. So he was really scared. And then he looks over and he goes, come forward. And he comes forward. He says, show me the pot. He's like, and then the emperor goes, he says, what's your name? He goes, my name is Ling. And then the emperor gets up. He gets his medieval microphone. And he says, the next emperor will be Ling. Everybody's like, wow. Shishikonitai Maya Pashashiki Jai. Then the emperor revealed that every seed he'd given was boiled. And the only one that was honest enough to admit that was Ling. So therefore he was the emperor, because he had the integrity and the honesty and the courage to just do the right thing. So in the same way, part of the process of chanting is that sometimes it seems like you're not getting anywhere. And so then you can pretend, oh no, it's fantastic. Oh, my japa was fantastic today. I'm feeling so much ecstasy and I'm really into things, Haribo. And part of the process is that you have to feel useless and be honest about it and take help. And then Krishna's pleased, oh, this person's being honest. Yeah, so and then, no, it's okay. You can still ask yours.
Yeah, just relating what Alan said, that sometimes we don't see how bad we chant until someone else tells us that we are chanting badly. I remember in the beginning we had this custom in South America that we will record someone else chanting. I remember one devotee came to me, he said, you are not chanting properly, you are missing some words. And I said, no, it really touched my ego, I said, no, I'm sure I'm chanting properly. And he showed me the recording, and I was not chanting properly. But unless someone else tell you that you think you are chanting properly, you may not, there will be some words missing, and then you don't get the full potency of the mantra. You don't get the full benefit. So it's very important to concentrate. And sometimes we were chanting with the car or with the mantra written on it. So we go word by word because we think we know it, But over the time we may become neglectful, and then we don't chant properly, and it can go on forever. We can be chanting wrongly forever unless it get corrected. And I'm very thankful nowadays, even nowadays, to this devotee who correct me in the beginning. Because without that correction, I could probably be chanting something else, not the Mahamantra. So it's very important to chant properly, to pronounce every word properly. The mantra. Because Sanskrit is very precise. You cannot change a word. Sanskrit mantras are very precise. You cannot, if you like we see in the Srimad Bhagavatam, so many examples, they chant one letter wrong and the whole yaga is spoiled, because Sanskrit is very precise. But with the Mahamantra it's the same. If we don't chant, if we miss out, left out a word or mantra, then we don't get the full result. We'll still get benefits. Even if you chant half of the mantra, you still get benefit, but not the full benefit. So it's very important.
Even if some of the syllables are mispronounced.
Yeah. So it's very important to do it properly.
Yeah, what's interesting as well is if you're chanting for a while, then the Krishna starts to go very sharp. So when you're first chanting, it's Krishna, almost like a Krishna. Krishna, 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 or Shnikshna, Shnik, 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 Shnik. One time they were chanting and Prabhupada said, who is Shnicking? And they were all looking at each other like, and then he carried on chanting again, and then the Prabhupada started, who is Shnicking? I'm asking, who is Shnicking? And they were all looking at each other, and finally they caught the one that was Shnicking, he wasn't saying Krishna, he was saying Shnik. And it can be Gush as well, Gush, I do that sometimes, Gush, because Krish. But the Krishna, when you actually start to get a taste for it, then the Krishna goes very sharp and precise. Krishna. And it's interesting that Tunde Tandavani Ratim Vitanute Tandavali Labdeye, Rupa Goswami says, I cannot estimate how much nectar the two syllables Krishnati Vana Dwai, the two syllables Krishna have produced. He doesn't say the two syllables Hare or the two syllables Rama. He says the two syllables Krishna. So we chant Hare Krishna to get introduced to Krishna, and then we chant Rama also to get free from sinful activities and wayward thoughts. But the Krishna is the the doorway into the mantra. And interesting, if you ever notice, you know what gets missed out usually the most? The second Hari Rama. So it's usually Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. And the Hare Rama gets missed out. Instead of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. It's Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. It's the Hare Rama that gets missed out most often, if you analyze it. Because by the time you get to the second part of the mantra, you're already getting a bit bored with it, and then you're just thinking, let's finish this one off so we can start the next one. So you skip a Hare Rama to make it a bit easier.
Some devotees, they chant a lot of extra ramas, Rama, 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 Rama.
Yeah, there was one Australian devotee, he used to, when he started chanting, he'd have his jumper on, his jacket, he'd take his jacket off, then his jumper would come off, and then finally, he'd be standing there. This is the Chaitanya College. He had one of these string vests on. His face was bright red. He had a heap of clothes there. And he was going, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare. He just got so fired up, Got a bit carried away with the Hare Haris. He's still around, that devotee. So maybe he got extra benefit for the extra Hare Haris.
Yes, I wanted to ask, I'll ask the question, but I wanted to add something about the mantra. The question is, we're talking about Gaudiya Mat and about Ritviks and these sorts of things. And obviously there's this thing that's very popular just now, Bhakti Marg.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, is it because they're broadcasting the holy name and people are all gathering together and it's like everyone under one roof and they're all able to take part in their wonderful kirtans? Is this like a beneficial thing? Or is it potentially dangerous for people because they're not getting the direction that they would get from Prabhupada with reference to the scripture?
The distinguishing factor is, are they antagonistic towards Srila Prabhupada or are they complementary? And so some devotees I've met that are in the Gaudiya Mat are very much antagonistic, and some of them are completely okay, with Prabhupada. They think he's a special, great person, and they have all respect for him. They'll bow down to his mercy and respect and even read his books, So they're not antagonistic. So that would be the distinguishing feature. For ourselves, Sri Ramaj recommends in Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani that other institutions we should keep a healthy distance from, keep them at arm's length. Rupa Goswami says the same, that Krishnati Yajagirita Manashadriyata. In the mind, we can show them respect because they're chanting Krishna. But we're not interested in their opinions, especially if they're at odds with Prabhupada's mandates. Then we're not so interested in that. We want to associate with devotees that have full faith in Srila Prabhupada. They're the association that we want. It's so nice to have Dheeraj Shanta Maharaj's association when he was here, and he was saying to me that he likes Scotland and he feels very rested while he's here. He'd like to come back again for a longer period of time. And I was encouraging him that I think it would be very beneficial to the congregation to get that association, and if he gives them some direction and it helps them to become more solid, then that will be a really good service for us, So he says he would like to do that, so he's going to speak with Prana and work out a time. What do you think, Chainanda? It's good to associate with devotees that have full faith in Srila Prabhupada. And we're fortunate that we have spiritual masters now that have been disciples of Srila Prabhupada for 50 years. So they have such deep realization of Prabhupada and the potency of his books. And they're the ones we want to associate with. And we need to be on our guard. We're like psychic warriors, actually. Just like when you go on the battlefield, right? You have a shield and you have a sword. So a psychic warrior, the shield is the holy name, and the sword is the Shastra. You know Astra? Astra is a weapon, so Shastra is in that generic group. So to have Shastra means to have psychic weapons, the Sambandha, and then the Abhideya, how to apply it, to know all the ways to... Like I read a really far out thing. This was just such a powerful thing that Chaitanya Charan, his books are amazing, you know. He said such a really powerful thing. You may not catch it. I'll ask Jayananda if he catches this in a minute. He says, Maya's job is not to illusion us. Her main job is to teach us the futility of sense gratification. Can you catch the difference there, Jayananda? What's the difference? It's like, because you could think, oh, Maya's my enemy, Maya's my enemy. I spit at the thought, oh, there's a female, yuck, Maya, she's a witch, you know, like that. But the real understanding is, one way or the other, Maya's going to show you that this is futile. So if you can read it and understand it and realize it, fantastic. But if you can't do it that way, then she'll take you down down the hard way. You fall down, you end up with 15 kids, and this nagging wife with rollers in her hair with a fag. Where have you been? And then you realize, this is totally futile. So one way or the other, better if you do it the quick way, but if you want to go the slow way, then that's what she's there to do, to teach you it's futile. And you're like, this is just a total waste of time, you know. That's her job. And she's a pure devotee, just the same as Srila Prabhupada and all the devotees. So that's her service, to teach you the futility of trying to live separately from Krishna. So if you help her, if you decide, okay, I want to help learn this lesson, then she's really pleased. You can work alongside Maya. That's what she's doing, you know. I mean, Maya comes up to Haridas Thakur, and he says, "Oh, just let me finish my rounds." And then she ends up, and then she says, everyone else is getting a chance to engage in pastimes and get Krishna prema. I want Krishna prema as well. Please give me the holy name. And then he says to Maya, okay. So not only does Maya, if you fully understand what it is she's trying to do and you try and help her, then she's like, she's more than happy, you know. She wants you to learn the lessons and get out the material world quickly, as much as anybody. She's not happy that the living entity fails and stays in the material world. Any other last questions or comments?
It was just on the pronunciation of the mantra. I was doing a little research, and it seems in the Krishna, the Sanskrit, we're supposed to like push our tongue upwards, and the sh is not like with the teeth; it's with the tongue sort of in the roof of the mouth and things like that, which I wasn't so aware of for some time. So like I'm considering maybe I've been mispronouncing Krishna for the whole time. And there's a very nice video on YouTube. There's a few of them where people are like talking about the correct placement of the tongue and how to make the exact sound so the Krishna is right. Because you know, we're invoking something different apparently if we're not pronouncing it correctly.
Yeah, one time Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers said, your disciples are not chanting Hare Krishna properly. And Prabhupada said, yeah, I know that, but Krishna knows who they mean. So the intention, if you get too caught up in the technicalities, then as you're trying to chant, you can become distracted by that also. And then you become overly, niyamagraha means over the top with rules and regulations, or completely whimsical about the rules and regulations. So we want to walk the middle road, which is where we just plod along and we do the best we can. Otherwise, if you go extremely fanatical one way, then the duality of that is that then you'll just become very whimsical and give it all up, you know. So you have to do what is sustainable for you, you know, that you can keep up. If it gets too much and it's too finicky, then it's like, oh, forget it. I can't do this. So you have to Aishava Parama Yoga, the supreme yoga process, just as an expert horseman desiring to train a headstrong horse, allows the horse off the path and then gradually, by pulling on the reins, brings it back onto the desired path. Similarly, the supreme yoga process is that by which one carefully observes the desires and the movements of the mind and gradually brings them under full control. Because if you're on a horse and you just yank the reins, it'll just throw you off. So if you're being too over the top with your mind, then the mind will just say, forget it. Okay, that's it, you know. And then you just throw everything out. Everything goes. So you have to learn how to, okay, I'm not saying the mantra completely perfectly, but I'm a bit tired. I know it's a bit slurred. It's the best we can do right now. But just bear with me, you know. So you need to give yourself a break as well. Otherwise, if you're too over the top, and then you start thinking, actually, no one's chanting it properly. I'm not the only one that's not chanting it properly. No one's doing it properly. So the better thing is be a little bit tolerant of yourself and understand that with a headstrong horse, you just need a gradual steering it onto the path. Don't start yanking it, you know. The mind is like a rat. You know, if you corner a rat, it'll go for you. So don't make the mind go for you. Just be nice, you know. Give the rat a bit of cheese. Try and get it out the door slowly, you know. If it feels threatened, then it'll attack. When the mind is cornered, that's when it goes like a rat. Iskon Guru Vrinda ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Premanandi.